Hey there guys, so our new anime starts with our protagonist Setsu and his childhood friend Hana. Setsu wanted her to leave him alone or else a rumor came about him, and her dating would begin. But Yuhi didn't care, and that's when a summoning circle spreads across the classroom, which made Setsu happy because it took them to another world. They were all summoned in a deserted area where armed soldiers rushed in to attack them. Panic spreads across everyone, but not on Setsu, because he had the power to obliterate them easily. Then human soldiers came in to handle the area and secure the premise. Their lady told them all to follow the royal knights to a safe place. And she herself dove right into the battle, like a war maiden. A while later, the king of Destinia Kingdom met everyone and filled them in on their situation of a possible war with demons after 5 years. That's why they had summoned heroes from another world to save their kingdom from demon invasion again after 5 years of peace. Opinions were divided, and the princess asked them to take some time and rest for today, and Setsu assured Hana he'd take care of her here. And then, the training started from early morning for both mages and knights, but Setsu was setting it aside. Their Elka caught him wandering off, yet Setsu was calm like he didn't do anything, which ticked her off. So to assert her superiority, Elka tried to attack, but just one spank and she remembered it as Setsu, so she became a chair for her master. Her masochism was way off the charts. Then Glane came too and knew it should be Setsu if Elka is behaving like this, so they first ran to Thea to give her this news, but she already knew Setsu came back now. They gave all the details to Setsu on the possibility of the new war with demons, because last time Setsu had established peace with them, and after his battle with Toma, he just vanished. Setsu sets it straight that he had a fresh start in life in another world and got summoned again, but Toma must have survived and stayed in this world to start a new war. They all knew he's the only guy who could pull it off, but then the king called Glane for something, and Setsu too decided to set off. Anyway, the king declared war, but Glane objected to it. So the princess pointed out that it was demons who started the invasion first, not them, which left no room for any objections. So it became even more important for Setsu to start his journey to again establish peace between humans and demons. But he asked his friends to stay here and protect this place in case Toma comes here to attack. So the next day Setsu got ready to go, but Hana saw him and got worried that he's leaving her behind. So Setsu had to reveal it's his second time being summoned to this world, so he has to stop the war from happening again. Hana still wanted to stay with him on this journey, but Setsu said that she couldn't because it's dangerous. It was hard, but Yuhi understood and promised to work hard to join him one day. With that, Setsu set off on his journey. And after that, we see a glimpse of the past with a jeweler and his granddaughter. The old geezer soon kicked the bucket, and his granddaughter was then left alone in this world. So she packed up and left the shop to complete the last work her grandfather had taken. She was on her way to deliver that brooch which came to her grandfather for repair. But she got attacked by a wild beast who snagged her stuff. Luckily the brooch was fine, but the wild beast got near to say hello. Her name was Ruri, and she felt life flashing before her eyes. But luckily for her, Setsu was passing from this way and saved her life. With it, he was done here, and decided to leave the damsel in distress. So Ruri asked Setsu to escort her safely to town, and she'd pay him well. Setsu gave in but refused to take the pay. Then, after a whole night's horse riding, they arrived in the port town of Marsan. From there on, they wanted to take a ship to the demon continent, but thanks to the recent conflict, every ship had canceled their tour. Yet Ruri asked around every ship captain and found no one. But then some knights showed up to cause problems in the name of inspection. They were trying to take her bag away, but Setsu stepped in to stop them. These 3 knights had a bad reputation already, so they decided to pull back once they saw the public. That's why for safety they decided to share a room at an inn for today. There she showed the brooch she was carrying. Setsu remembered this piece, and Ruri said this was the one final job her grandfather took, which she wanted to fulfill. But Setsu saw there was a curse on it, so he got worried for the person whom he had given this to. That's when those 3 knights showed up yet again, and Setsu had a hunch they'd do something like this. So he made a run for it and jumped off from a high altitude because he had his friend Leviathan in the water. It's a sea god, and Setsu asked her to take him to the demon continent. But when they stopped to take some rest, Setsu made her fight a giant squid. Well, anyway, Leviathan had a human form she could turn into. So she took that form after killing that squid. They couldn't just leave it here as is, so Setsu baked some squids for lunch. Besides that, the brooch Ruri was carrying belonged to Desistal. She had no idea it was the Demon Queen herself. So Levi told her where the Demon Queen's castle resided. That came out as a shocker, but now Levi decided to go on her own way. But Setsu asked her to stick with him for now. There's some demon kids showed up, and to silence their bickering, Setsu offered that squid. Since they liked it so much, Setsu decided to share it with their villagers. Apparently, that kraken had given the villagers a lot of trouble. No ships can come here, nor the villagers can go for fishing. And since Setsu brought it back as food, the villagers threw a celebration party, and obviously, who killed it gets the honor as king, and the sidekicks became cooks. But a personal guard of the Demon Queen showed up near the village and thought humans had invaded their land from all the glowing lights he saw. And Ruri at the time was full-time high after drinking just a little bit. So Levi sat down to give her some company. Ruri wished to know more about Setsu, and Levi started with how she met him. Although she was easily defeated when she tried to fight, Ruri still didn't get it that Setsu was that Setsu who ended the war and became a hero. But luckily her bewildered mind lit up, and her alcohol wore off from the shock. There Vlad came in to fight the invader, but people got paused seeing a joker. Kids offered him the squid. And finally the party came to an end. Levi was enjoying herself at the shore, and Vlad apologized to her for not recognizing her. Their Setsu came in, and Vlad realized it's him. That was an unexpected encounter, but still seeing Setsu gave him another ray of hope. So he asked both Levi and Setsu to save Desis. She was set to marry a human merchant, but it wasn't a marriage. It was more like a slave contract. Apparently it all happened after humans invaded them, but humans said demons were invading them. This made one thing clear, that someone was trying to ignite the war, and the man Desis was set to marry was called Terran, who claimed he could stop the war. That's why Desis was marrying him, because she promised Setsu she'd maintain the peace. Hearing this, Setsu and Levi quickly took off to arrive at the demon castle to stop the wedding. Demon Queen Desistal was a kind queen who fought only to protect her people. She kept on fighting for only that reason, but when she clashed with Setsu, she lost. But Setsu didn't take her life. Instead, he promised her peace. He gave her the black brooch as a token of their friendship. But soon he disappeared in the Destinia kingdom. Even so, Desis decided to uphold her promise to maintain peace with the human kingdom. She was a queen respected by her people from their heart. But suddenly her brooch was damaged, and Vlad suggested to repair it in the Destinia kingdom, where a skillful jeweler resides. And that's how it ended up at Ruri's shop. But now the Destinia army had sent troops to the Demon Kingdom's border, and as a ruler Desis deployed her army too. Desis had a hunch that there was something wrong about this, and tried to contact the Destinia Kingdom, but she got no response even after a month. That's when Terran from Terran Trading Company appeared to meet Desis. He offered to help maintain peace with the human kingdom only if Desis becomes his bride. But his conditions were actually to make her his slave, and Terran gave her a necklace with a curse of servitude to ensure Desis don't pull any sort of trick behind his back. That was such a one-sided offer. Vlad tried to convince Desis to reject that guy's proposal, but Desis wanted to uphold her promise she made to Setsu and decided to accept Terran's offer. So Terran hastily made preparations for the wedding. Desistal entered the room and walked down the aisle, and Terran was happy that everything was going according to his plan. Now the whole demon kingdom would become his once he puts that necklace on her. Desis too didn't resist, but she remembered Setsu in that moment, and he appeared to save the bride. Terran had goons prepared for this, but Levi handled them first easily. But one among them was particularly skilled and even immobilized Levi. He could have killed her. But Setsu turned the odds instantly. Turns out Terran was just a puppet, and that guard belonged to someone who controlled Terran. Setsu wanted to know the name, but he ran off when he saw the power gap between him and Setsu, after which Desistal finally got the chance to have a touching reunion with Setsu. But Levi told them to look at those guys. They were magic soldiers made out of curses, and the necklaces with curses indicated that it was Toma for sure. So Desistal wanted to join Setsu when he was planning to meet the Beast King to secure his help. There Ruri came too, and returned the brooch to Setsu so that he could again give it to her then. With everything settled, Setsu planned to leave immediately, but he promised Desistal that he will take her wherever she wants to go next time. Holding on to it, both said their goodbyes, and the journey continues. And right there our video for today ends, but stay tuned to watch next part, and for that subscribe the channel, and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Till then, take care.